Hi guys, so today for our read aloud, I'm going to read chapter 16 from your Unit 2 readers. You don't have to follow along in your reader, but you can if you want. If not, just follow along on the screen with us. Before we start, I want to remind you that there are 5 vertebrate animal groups, and they are amphibians, mammals, birds, fish, and reptiles. And that is what we're going to be learning about today. I also wanted to make sure that you guys are answering the questions on the comprehension questions page. It just says read aloud um, lesson 14, part 1 questions. Those are the ones you're going to be doing. I'm not going to be showing you exactly what to write on these. So make sure you're just listening because I will be telling you the answers to all of those questions. So make sure you're really listening. Also, we're only going to be doing half of this chapter, and then the other half will be for your read aloud tomorrow night. So it's kind of a bigger one, and there was questions with both that I wanted to make sure you guys were really paying attention because they cover a lot about classifying animals and just kind of a big review that I wanted to make sure we got before moving on because it's kind of a lot. So we're going to do it in 2 parts, one tonight and one tomorrow night. All right. Also, please don't judge me too much because some of these animal names are really hard to pronounce. So I'm going to do my best to make sure I'm pronouncing them correctly. And I've looked up how to do it before, but I might forget a little bit. So sorry about that in advance if I am not saying them the right way. Okay, so we're going to start reading. Chapter 16, Vertebrate Animals Around the World. Okay, and you see how it says read aloud right here? The heading says read aloud. It's telling us that this is a read aloud that we're reading. It's not something you're going to be reading by yourself. We're going to be reading it together out loud. Okay. All my best friends represent vertebrates. Now that you've learned about each vertebrate group, you know about many characteristics that taxonomists use to classify these animals. Who wants to try naming the 5 groups of animals that make up vertebrates in the animal kingdom? Remember, we said they were amphibians, mammals, birds, fish, and reptiles. All right. Why do scientists classify organisms? Because there are so many living things on Earth, it gives scientists a way of studying them by showing their relationships. And how do they classify them? They look for common or shared characteristics. What are some of these common characteristics? You've learned that some animals are warm-blooded and others are cold-blooded. Some are vertebrates and others are invertebrates. You've also learned that there are many other ways to classify animals into smaller and smaller groups. The scientific classification system, taxonomy, uses these names, kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, and species, to describe the groups from largest to smallest. When they classify animals, taxonomists compare and contrast animal habitats, physical characteristics, skin coverings, feeding habits, and reproduction. Today we're going to look at 7 different locations on Earth, one on each of the continents of the world. We can use our new skills to practice classifying a few of the animals that live in each place. Okay, so I'm going to show you pictures of each continent that we're going to be talking about today also. So the first stop, the American desert. So let's see. Or the North American desert. No, it doesn't. Yeah, the North American desert. Okay, so North America is right here, and North America is where we live, right? We live in America, which is our country, in the continent of North America. All right. Here are some examples of animals you may find in this North American desert. The western diamondback rattlesnake, the Gila woodpecker, the desert bighorn sheep in the background, the roadrunner, the banded Gila monster, the bobcat, and the turkey vulture. Just by looking at these animals, are you able to classify them? The bobcat and sheep are both covered in fur, so we know they are mammals because mammals are always covered in fur, remember, or have fur hair. What about the Gila monster? It's a reptile, one of only 2 venomous lizards in America. What kind of animal is this rattlesnake, which is also covered in scales? Yes, it is a reptile. It is venomous as well, and is one of the few reptiles that gives birth to live young. So they're talking about this picture right here. I know we couldn't see it when I was reading it, but we're going to keep, or this is what they were talking about. It was just on a different page. Okay, we're going to move on. So let's move on to the Amazon rainforest in South America. So let's see South America. So North America is here to the north, and then we're going to move south down to South America. It's right there. All right. Native to the rainforest are spotted jaguar, the green anaconda, the three-toed sloth, the red-bellied piranha, the blue and yellow macaw, the pink-toed tarantula, and the caiman, which looks like a small crocodile. The anaconda and the caiman are both covered in scales. The bird should be an easy one to spot. The only one with wings and feathers is the macaw. And the piranha should be familiar to all of you. These are Pablo's fish relatives. The jaguar and sloth both belong to the same group. Who can name that group? Great, they're mammals. We can tell because they're covered in fur. As you have learned, mammals give birth to live babies. Does this dark hairy spider belong to one of the vertebrate groups we've studied? No, the pink-toed tarantula is an invertebrate. It's cold-blooded, has an exoskeleton, and is the member of the arachnid group. Let's look at some of the animals that make their homes high in the alpine mountains of Europe. So let's find Europe on the map really quick. So Europe is over here, right kind of close to Asia. Okay. What do you see in the background there on the rocks? The rock ptarmigan lives in the Alps. So does the black alpine salamander, the marmot, the golden eagle, the Apollo butterfly, and the pine marten. Which one do you think is a member of any of the vertebrate groups we've studied? Yes, the butterfly is an invertebrate and is classified in the largest group of animals on Earth, insects. The black alpine salamander shares characteristics with both a lizard and a frog. Think about how you would classify it. It's a moist-skinned amphibian and is an unusual one that lives only on land and gives birth to fully developed live young. What two-legged feathered animals do you see? Yes, the birds are the ptarmigan, and I lost my place looking how to pronounce it, just a second. And the golden eagle, of course. In mammals, are there any fur-covered creatures in the Alps? Yes, the marmot and the pine marten. Okay. All right, so we're going to move on to the next, and we're going to be looking at the picture at the bottom when we talk about these. The Ganges Delta of India on the continent of Asia is home to swamps, forests, and creeks. All right, let's look at Asia. Asia is this big continent over here, right? The black-crowned night heron, the wild boar, the olive ridley turtle, the Ganges River dolphin, the Indian python, the blue-eared kingfish, and the mugger crocodile, and the chital. Can you spot the cold-blooded reptiles here? You bet. The crocodile, the turtle, and the python are all representatives of the reptile group. Which ones are warm-blooded mammals? Yes, the boar or wild pig and the chital, a common deer of the area. The polluted waters of the Ganges River have ruined the habitat for a number of animals, and this river dolphin is endangered because the river's pollution. Only one of 4 river dolphin species in the world. Only one of 4 river dolphin species in the world. It is a mammal just like its ocean-loving relatives. The Ganges river dolphin is sometimes called the blind dolphin. Each of its eyes lacks a lens to give it clear vision, but it still uses its eyes to help find direction. I forgot to turn the page for you. And of course, our feathered friends of the sky, the kingfisher and the heron, are both birds. Sorry, I forgot to turn the page.